Awesome. So, I was told that you want to speak English, but you can't, or you don't do it so well. If you have these problems, I'm going to explain why your problems are. We have the linguistic and non-linguistic factors. What is a linguistic factor? A linguistic factor has to do with lack of grammar, poor pronunciation, and lack of vocabulary. Lack of grammar. Well, actually, it's lack of grammar knowledge. Uh-huh. You probably know some basic grammar, but you need to learn more and more complex structures. Present simple, past simple, future simple, and we have more complex tenses. You need to learn the form and the meaning. The form is the right structure, and the meaning is the use of this specific grammar. You also need to learn grammar words. You need to identify nouns, adjectives, verbs, prepositions, articles, etc. Why is grammar so important? Well, grammar is so important because if you learn grammar, you will learn the rules that govern the language. You will learn to structure a sentence well, and you will sound accurate. How can you practice grammar? You can practice grammar with, well, you practice grammar. But before you practice your grammar, you have to learn grammar. You have to study the rules. You have to use the rules. And once you learned, once you have studied, once you have practiced enough, once you consolidate, this is gone. You will not worry about grammar the rest of your life. Only until you studied, until you practice, until you master the grammar. Period. That's a good thing about grammar. It's very similar to your mother tongue. When you learn Spanish, you learned how to communicate in this language, and then you learn some grammar rules in school. And after school, after high school, you don't learn the grammar because you use the grammar consciously. No one is perfect, of course, but you don't need to study grammar anymore. Now, what is the second point? The second point is pronunciation. Pronunciation seems to be a simple thing, but the problem is that you need to speak as native speakers speak. This basically means you have to articulate new sounds, pronounce words very well, you have to use the right intonation, you have to stress the right words, and you have to keep a good accent. Now, which accent? American or British or Australian? I don't know about you, but you need to learn English to be able to have a conversation. Okay? There is no the perfect accent as long as you are able to make yourself understood with the correct pronunciation. How do you practice pronunciation? Well, first you listen and repeat. You articulate the sounds of the words. Number two, you practice with drills, repeating and repeating and repeating. You also practice when you read aloud, and you have to say the words, and you have to record yourself. Use your recorder, and you can use apps. Why don't you read to your, I don't know, your computer, your cell phone, you open the microphone, and then you dictate to this computer, and if your pronunciation is good, then the words you are saying to the machine are written on the screen. And then you say, I got it, I did it, my pronunciation was recognized. Okay? And also you practice pronunciation when you speak, when you talk to native speakers, and you make yourself understood. Period. What's next? The third factor, the third cognitive factor is vocabulary. Well, without grammar, very little can be conveyed. But without vocabulary, nothing will be conveyed. Nothing can be conveyed. This basically means that you have to learn a lot of new words phrases, idiomatical expressions, chunks. How many words do you need to learn? It's up to you. You can learn as many as you can. But remember, if you want to interact, you want to give, you want to make yourself understood, you want to be precise and accurate, you need to learn a lot of vocabulary. Well, 5,000 words is good enough to make yourself understood in different fields. Remember, you also had to learn idiomatical expressions. You want to learn expressions native speakers use, especially when you want to understand what they are saying. All right. Then you also want to learn phrases, phrasal verbs. So how do you learn vocabulary? You learn vocabulary by reading. You learn vocabulary by using it with multiple choice tests. And remember, you have to acquire passive vocabulary, and then you want to use this vocabulary. Then you will use active vocabulary. If you don't use any active vocabulary, you don't speak English at all. That is the key point, my friend. You want to do it, and you will. Otherwise, you will not become a successful speaker. And remember, you need to mix these three ingredients: good grammar, excellent pronunciation, and lot of vocabulary. If you do that, you will be able to have a good conversation. You will be able to say a lot of things, express a lot of ideas in this beautiful language. Okay? I hope you come back later and watch our next video. See you next time, my friends.